All right, we are live once again. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics. I hope you are all having a wonderful day, and I am going to be doing a comic book unboxing. This is a modern book. It's a variant, one of the books I've wanted for a while, and it was just getting way too expensive. And like a lot of comics now, some prices are seeing some dips, which, you know, there are plenty of people out there that say to be scared or comic collecting is over and all that other negative stuff. I just say, if you know anything about any kind of investments or anything that has value, you're going to see peaks and valleys. This is a normal, healthy thing. You don't want to see something always continually going straight up or anything going completely straight down. None of these, especially comics, especially ones that are investments, they never go to zero. So I always say, buy low, sell high. So when you see a dip, that is the opportunity. Now, of course, with any kind of investment, no matter what it is, there's always risks. But I always say if the prices are going down and it's something you wanted, well, it's worth taking the chance on, in my opinion. But so many people are afraid to act because they don't generally like to think for themselves. They don't have the confidence in themselves, and they rely on others to basically think for them by following the herd, for example. And I don't suggest ever doing that, because remember, the herd may be right every now and then, but if they're wrong more than they're right, and you're just doing it because of peer pressure or lack of confidence, you know, I would not recommend hitching my horses to those kind of wagons. So I try to think differently. When I see a book that I've wanted, even if the price goes down, I see it as an opportunity then to be able to purchase it. Now, it could continue to go down, and that's the risk I'm willing to take. But if it's something I've wanted, then it doesn't sting as much if that happens. But again, I think long term. So it's time to get people to rethink and reevaluate situations. Like the movies that are going on right now. It's not comic book fatigue. It's just bad movies and putting propaganda and messages over quality product. I don't think it's fatigue. Now, there might be people that agree with that. There might be people that disagree with that. And that's the wonderful world that we live in, that you're entitled to your opinion. So, with that out of the way, we see a couple of people already here. So, welcome. We got a couple of people in the live chat. I always recommend, or at least suggest, come into the live chat, even if you're not a subscriber. It's just nice to interact with the people that are viewing my videos. And we have a 50% like ratio, which I appreciate. You know, I may not get hundreds or thousands or millions of views, but I get a lot of people that do come in are kind enough to hit the like button, and they approve of what I try and do. And that's share my opinion and share some comics. So out of 6 people watching, 3 have hit the like button, so thank you for that. And we got Michael P. in the house. We got Life is Good. See you here all the time. One of my moderators, GT Key Comic. Welcome to the show. I'm going to do this quick unboxing, but as usual, if you want to make and express an opinion on my artificial intelligence or AI art, I just decided, I did a bunch of them. Some different kinds of animals in costumes doing unboxings. So if you like these kind of things, because all of my thumbnails are all now original, I make them myself. Well, technically I just type in some keywords and the computer does it, so it's not really that much of an effort. But I still love doing it because it's my own original art that is mine, and it's something that I created. And once these videos upload, if you'd be so kind to leave some comments, I get maybe 1 or 2 comments a video, so if anybody can take the time to do that, it does help the channel's algorithm, because I don't have much these days, so anything can be appreciated. So let's put on the video camera, and after I do this video, I'm going to mail one of my comic book auction winners who just completed their payment for the Amazing Spider-Man 129 at a 6.5 grade. That's not the unboxing, because here's the box right here. But I'm going to be mailing this out, so they just paid yesterday. So as promised, I will make sure it is mailed out within 24 business hours. So thank you for that. And speaking of which, any of the 10 remaining comics that are still available for sale, you have until Friday this week. So in, what's today? Today is Wednesday. So 2 more days. If you're interested in any of those books, Otherwise, they will no longer be for sale. Some of them, especially one in particular, when season 2 is coming out, I'm actually surprised no one's even inquired about it because it's just a no-brainer. But that's just meaning that it's going to have more value for me later. All right, so here's the box. It is not a graded comic. It is actually a raw comic that I will get graded. And they did a great job with the box. They put a supersized box in this, so this is well protected. And I think the reason is, like I always tell people, when you're buying from anybody where they have to mail it to you, never assume that they know how to package comics or they care about properly mailing comics. And I always tell people, after you make the purchase and you send them the payment, send a little message saying, hi, can you securely package the comic, and even explain it. I always tell them, if you could put it in a box, if you put cardboard and protection, they may not do it, but more will do it than won't. So if you want to try and stop yourself from getting that manila envelope with no protection, because they may not have known or they didn't care, make sure you message the sellers and don't assume that they know what they're doing, because then you can get stuff like this by just happening to mention it. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. And if you like this kind of stuff, I mean, you can hit the subscribe button if you so desire. Alright, so they put a bunch of the packing peanuts and they layered it to the point where it kind of looks like that white popcorn. So they put it all inside the box completely, and then the comic is in here. So they did an incredible job protecting this comic. That means whoever I bought this from knows what they're doing, or at the very least cares about what they're doing, because, the way to get repeat business is to do good business. Anybody can sell anything once, but if you screw somebody over or take advantage of them or don't do the right thing, it's going to be very rare chance of getting another chance at business with them. So they put it in a Gemini box, they put the receipt, and they put it in a top loader. So this looks good. They said this is high grade. Now this book at one point was fetching anywhere from about $800 to $1,200. And I will eliminate the personal information, but I'll show you the receipt. So this is a book that many people might not be looking for now. I have already several of the #1 issue of this comic. I have, I think, most, if not all, of the variants. This was the only one that was missing, and I now have this book. Whether or not it's going to become something, I think it will, but you'll know the situation once you see the book. So here we go. This is Rick and Morty, issue #1. Love Rick and Morty. Hate the fact of what Justin Roiland did to put himself in a situation where he's no longer the voice for these characters. So I don't know what they're going to do with this show, but I love the series. It's a cult following, and will it be relevant? Yes. Because remember, there are shows like, for example, if you remember, if you're old like me, a show like Welcome Back, Kotter. That's an iconic show, only had 3 seasons. How about Gilligan's Island? It only had 2 seasons. So there are iconic TV shows that last throughout the decades that have had like 5 seasons or less. Not all of them are like The Simpsons that go into, may go into infinity with their seasons, or Saturday Night Live, which is nothing like it used to be. I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in probably 15 years. It's so irrelevant to me. So even though Rick and Morty, I think it had 6 seasons, and I don't know if they're continuing on what they're going to do, but even with that, that can create iconic status for a lifetime. Now, because of the situation being current within the past year or so, these books have taken a hit, but I think, in my opinion, as an investor, I see long-term potential in books like this because of the fact that most people think it's over, and that means they're just going to be irrelevant from now on. And like I said, Gilligan's Island, which was made in the 60s, only had 2 seasons. I think the original Star Trek I think maybe had 4, maybe, I don't think it had 5 seasons. I think it had only 3 to 4 seasons. And look what Star Trek does. So, again, you don't have to have a 20-year show for it to have relevance through time. And I think Rick and Morty is one of those that even if they did not make another episode, or they had to change the voice and it's not as popular, I really think this has reached a status that will last a very long time. So it was worth taking the chance on. And there you go. Life is Good says original Trek was only 3. So there you go. Star Trek had 3 seasons. Gilligan's Island, 2 seasons. So you don't have to have multiple seasons to be iconic. You just look at the past and you'll see that. One of my favorite shows growing up when I was a kid was the original Battlestar Galactica. It had 1 season. And it was so popular, they ended up rebooting it. That was a show that had 1 season. So again, I think books like this are worth getting. Yeah, GT Comics said, holy cow, I had no idea those 2 shows had few seasons. And they're classics. He's right. So this is Rick and Morty issue number 1. This is the 1 in 30 variant. This was the one that I was really looking forward to getting. But like I said, for a while, this book was very expensive. And it's come back down to earth to where I think this is the time to be buying it. And they even have one of those stickers. So they did a great job packaging this. And especially a book with almost all black. This book looks like it has 9/8 potential. Now, when a book is all black, I am not going to touch it without gloves or not open it at all because any little nook and cranny will be visible with a black book. But I think at some point I will be getting this graded. I don't know, just something about this cover that really always intrigued me. And again, like I said, a lot of the Rick and Morty first prints have gone down in price. And if you think that show does not have relevance, even with the situations that happened with Justin Roiland, which I won't get into here, it's had enough impact to be an iconic show for decades and decades, even if they never make another season again. So I think, and this is my opinion, most people are afraid to touch this book because they think, well, the price has gone down, that means it's no longer relevant. And if you understand how to think differently, like I said about how many different iconic TV shows had 5 or less seasons and they're still relevant to this day, like Life is Good said, the original Star Trek only had 3 seasons, and that was back in the 60s. You know, things like Gilligan's Island, 2 seasons, back in the 60s. These have relevance. So, Matthew Kitney says, Adult Swim is doing season 7 Rick and Morty. So there you go. So they're going to continue. Now, I don't know if the voice is going to be different, where they're going to just get somebody that kind of is an impersonator that sounds like them, or they go in a different route altogether. People may like it, they may not. It's going to be hard to determine, but I think even if they don't have the success that they used to, I think the seasons up to season 6 were enough to just cement it into something that is going to be special for a long time and remembered. It was, it was not a show for everybody. But those like myself and others who love the show really appreciate it for what it did. So how it's going to continue remains to be seen. But I think that is the time to be purchasing books. You don't always want to buy them at the top. You want to sometimes wait. And that's why I say with investment, sometimes you have to wait a couple years. I've wanted this book for about 3 or 4 years. But I was not willing to pay $800, $900, $1,200 for this book, and that was ungraded. I was able to acquire this book with shipping and handling and with taxes for $220.05. So just to show, that's one of the things like I always say about my auctions. And like I said, there's still 10 books available until Friday, so check out the video I did the other day showing the last remaining 10 books. I don't charge tax. So this was a buy it now. It was just listed. So I saw it, I pounced on it because this has 9.8 potential. Of course, there's no guarantee with that when an ungraded book. But they had it listed for $199. So there was $6.65 in shipping, which is not unreasonable, especially the way they sent it. The taxes was $14.40. So basically almost another $15 on top of everything else just in taxes. And that's why buying from any online auction, even if it's not mine, you don't have to worry about that additional cost, because when you're buying $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 book, you're spending a lot extra in taxes. So just to show you, first you'll see the name of the book, but here, there is the breakdown. Now, let me straighten this out so it'll come in clearer. There's the breakdown of the price. So you have to include taxes and you have to include shipping costs, because anybody that says they bought this for $199, even though that's what they want it for, is not being truthful, because there is another $20.05 worth of taxes and shipping that you have to add to the cost of the book. So if somebody said they bought this book for $199, they're technically being truthful, but they're not giving you the complete truth. And that's the difference between net and gross when it comes to profit margins. If you don't know the difference, you really need to learn that stuff. So $220.05 for Rick and Morty #1. This is technically the first print of the first appearance of Rick and Morty, even though the that small little book is actually considered their first appearance, because it came with the season 1, I think it was DVD or Blu-ray, I'm not sure. But the problem is there was so many, how to say this nicely, not nice people that made bootleg copies of that book, rendering it basically useless. So the only way you would have an original one that would have their true first appearance would be if you had a sealed season 1 Blu-ray that had that in there. But there are plenty of people that even bootleg that and put a comic in there. So it's just very dishonest people in this world. So CGC will not even grade that anymore, because many people complained about the forgeries and the fakes. And it's sad that there are people that'll have to do things like that to make money. There's so many ways to make money. Why do you have to do it dishonestly? So this is technically the first appearances that they will grade. Now, I don't know any grading company that will actually list it as the first appearance, but I mean, what are you going to do? But it's still a #1 issue. It's a 1 in 30 variant. It looks like it's got a 9.8 potential. It was a book I was looking for. I think that completes all the different #1s. I think I have every single #1 Rick and Morty first print and variant. I even have some second, third, fourth prints of the first issue, even in variant form. So I was just very happy to get this into my collection. I think as of now, it is totally undervalued. There may be people that disagree, and that's perfectly fine. I would recommend looking into this and thinking about the long term based on some of the information I gave. Because a lot of times, if you don't see the whole picture of situations, you're never going to be able to invest properly. So, GT Key Comics says, Battlestar Galactica brings me back. It aired on Sunday nights when I was a kid. Loved that show. Yeah, I think that came out in either 79 or 80. And even think of another one. Think of Buck Rogers. 2 seasons, Buck Rogers. There's just so many iconic shows that a lot of them didn't get appreciated as much until later on. And some of them, they were really appreciated even from the start. It just, for some reason or another, maybe the cast didn't want to continue, or some situation happened, and they didn't last very long, but that does not take away from their iconic status. And I really think Rick and Morty is up there. Now, it's not the #1 show of all time or anything like that, but I would say Rick and Morty could arguably be in the top 100 of all time shows. That's my opinion. You could agree. If you agree, put it in the comment section. If you disagree, put it in the comment section and explain why. But I think now is the time, in my opinion, to be checking out these books if you can get them for good prices. I'm not sure if I'm going to see books like this get any lower. especially in higher grade. So I will be getting this graded soon. I'd love to know what you think about it. I'd love to know about what your opinions are of my opinions, because remember, that's all they are. So that's the book, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Out of the 16 wonderful people that are taking the time out of their busy day to watch this video, 10 of you hit the like button, so thank you for that. We got almost everybody kind enough to hit the like button. Florence Chestnut is here, and see if there's anybody else. The rest are just the people saying other comments and everything. Buck Rogers, aired on Fridays. Great show, short-lived, but a cool show. Yeah, that show only had 2 seasons, and that was an iconic show, many of them. So if you know, and this is a good thing to put in the comment section, if you know a show that is popular and famous and had less than 5 seasons, I want you to put them in the comment section of this video. And plus, I'll also know how many people watched to the end. So, once again, let me show the AI art that I put on. I'd love to hear your opinions. We're going to give our shout out to GT Key Comic and also Matthew Kitney. You're both today's surprise subscriber shout outs. So, if you want to put a link to one of your videos or to your channel in the comment section, you could do that. If you'd prefer, if you don't make videos, if you prefer to post one of your links to one of your social networks, you could do that instead. Or if you don't have that or don't want to do that and you sell anything on like Etsy or eBay or Amazon or anything, and you want to share a link to one of your sales, you could do that. So I'll leave it up to you which one you prefer. Just keep in mind, when you hit enter, it will not show up in the comment section until I approve it. I do that so this way nobody can spam any inappropriate links onto my channel. I always know how to beat the people that try and do corrupt things, like people that try and put porn websites on my channel. I think it's disgusting, but you'll never see the light of day of that. So if you see a link, it means it was verified. It will take you where it's supposed to go, and hopefully you'll support the people that take the time to do that. And that's my way of saying thank you for taking the time to check out my videos and participate in the live chat. So thank you for watching. Always love hearing your comments and your appreciation of what I do. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And do not forget, it's not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics.